Hey guys, so today I'm going to be doing just a get ready with me. I have a lot of new products to try and I just haven't sat down and tried them yet. I have had quite a long day. I am quite exhausted, but I really have been wanting to try some of the Fenty beauty products that I got. I have some Colourpop palettes, some new lip products, just a couple things that I wanted to try out, and I really just want to see how they work. So if you want to watch me play with some new makeup, then I guess just keep on watching. So I have my primer on. I'm actually going to start with eyes. I bought this Yes Please palette from Colourpop, I don't know, like 2 or 3 weeks ago, and I still haven't used it. So this is the Yes Please palette. It has packaging like this. It is cute AF. I mean, it really is. But this one is supposed to be what everybody is saying is like a knockoff of the Natasha Denona Sunset palette, and it's a fraction of the price. This was only $16 plus shipping. It was only 20 bucks. And I have swatched some of the shades and they are beautiful. I just hope that it performs well on the eyes and it's just as pigmented as the swatches. So I'm going to use this one today. So I'm going to prime my eyes. I love using the NYX Total Control drops because they're nice and thin, but they're going to be full coverage. Let's just blend this in. Okay, now I'm going to set that. Now there is a matte cream shade in this palette, so I'm going to take, it's called Full Zip, so I'm going to take Full Zip, it's this one here, and set my eyes with this. It's pretty pigmented too, you can see the difference between each eye. I mean, this one has the NYX Total Control drops, but it's definitely a lot brighter. I like this eyeshadow. Okay, I'm going to take my Morphe M441, which is just a giant blending brush. It's similar to the MAC 224. And let's see. Maybe I'll do something a little bit more like fall related. So I'm going to go into Note to Self, which is this like brown color here. This will be a good transition. So let's do this. I'm finding that these colors so far are super pigmented, but super easy to blend. Like, this is really easy. Now, I am going to address that just because I know a lot of people are bothered by it, but there's really not like much kickback from the eyeshadows, like at all. It's not bad at all. But I do like to explain, like, no matter what you're dipping in, the product is pressed and you're dipping something to unpress it in order to put it on the eyes, so of course it's going to have some kickback. I mean, it's virtually impossible to not have any, but the kickback is not bad. I'm not doing anything too specific with this color. I'm literally just taking the brush and going back and forth in my crease and making sure to diffuse it as I go and build up the color until it's as pigmented as I want it. Okay, now I'm going to take the Morphe M514, which is a smaller version of the M441, and I'm going to take French Kiss, which is this deep, dark burgundy brown. Now this one has a little bit more kickback than the other shades, but like I said, it doesn't bother me. But if that bothers you, I wouldn't, you know, use any eyeshadow, basically. I'm going to work this on the outer corner and in the lower part of this outer crease. I'm actually going to start packing this on the outer part of the lid. These brushes got really funky when I washed them. It's making it hard to apply. But that's totally the brush because it's literally like bent and frayed, if you can see that. I don't know what I did. All I did was air dry them upside down. And then they do this. Alright, I'm just going to go back on my M441 blend out the edges. Okay, now I'm going to take a MAC 239, which is just a flat packing brush, and pack on that color on the outer corner because my blending brush is all messed up. And then blend it out. I'm just going to take my NYX Total Control drops, and these are in the shade 5 if you're wondering. Take that, I have no idea what this brush is, but it's just a flat concealer brush. And get some product on there, and we're just going to halfway cut it. Okay, so now that we've got our crease cut about halfway, I'm going to take the shade Chauffeur, which is this bright goldy orange, and with that same brush that we used to cut the crease, I'm going to pack this on. And I'm going to spray a little bit of Fix Plus onto that shadow that's on my brush, just to kind of make it a little bit more pigmented. And then I'm just going to take my MAC 239 with whatever product that it has left on it, and I'm going to kind of feather these edges here. On another note, I've been feeling like super inspired but also uninspired here lately. I guess it's more just like I'm my own worst enemy as far as like I like what I'm posting. I like the content I'm creating, like as far as like looks go, but I'm always like, oh, but I could do better. Like I feel like this could have been more creative. So I'm just kind of in that kind of rut where it's like, it's not that I don't like what I'm posting, I just think that I could do better. And I love doing like beauty looks, but I'm also really into like avant-garde and stuff that's really out there. And I try so hard to like combine the two, but I really love doing both separately as well. So it's just been kind of a rut where I'm like, do I do something really crazy, really out there? Or, you know, do I do like more of a beauty look? Do I combine them? And most of the time I end up combining them just because I know, as stupid as this sounds, I know that not a lot of people are gonna like want to wear obviously out there kind of looks, and there's not as much like engagement whenever you post like super out there stuff. Not that I've ever been about like likes or, you know, anything like that. That's not what I mean. It's more so like the way Instagram has been set up is that like smaller accounts don't really show up in people's feeds. So it's hard. So like if you ever are on like the Explore page because your content is similar to what people are liking, this beauty world is dominated by beauty looks. But I really like the creative aspect of it. So I'm really hoping that the artistry of makeup comes back full circle because I miss the artistry. So I'm going to take the NYX Vivid Brights cream color in Bad Blood, and I'm going to try out my itty bitty Real Techniques brush. This is the square detailer brush. Hopefully you can see just how tiny this brush is. Super thin, very small. So let's see what we can do here. Okay, so that took entirely too long. I love these, but I don't because they're super, super thick. And that brush is so small that it does take quite some time but it is super precise, so I'm able to get a very nice, sharp, clean line. Now I'm going to try the new Rhianna Fenty Beauty foundation. I have heard good things about this. I've heard that it's pretty much good for all skin types, but it is a matte finish. It's medium to full coverage. I got mine in the shade 120, so I'm hoping this matches the best. It's got more of a runny texture than I thought, but that's okay. That means it's a little bit thinner, and I am okay with that. So we'll try on this side with a brush. And I'm going to use my favorite foundation brush. This is the Wet n Wild one. So far it's medium coverage. I am going to like layer it to see how buildable it is. So right here in this area, I think it's just because I have, you know, dry skin, but going in like buffing motions can kind of exfoliate the face. So I'm going to do more patting motions and pressing it into the skin rather, so that way it doesn't exfoliate and make my skin look a little bit drier. And this is why typically I use a sponge anyway, because I feel like with dry skin a sponge just applies it a little bit better without enhancing any texture. But so far so good. I am, however, going to try it with a sponge because I may prefer that just because I am a little bit more dry. And now I'm just going to take a damp sponge and try to apply it with that. It blends super, super easily. I'm not having any trouble blending it in. So here I'm going in with a second layer on the sponge side because the sponge initially did apply it a little bit sheerer. Not too much of a difference though. Okay, so color match. I like this color. Now, compared to my neck, it's a little bit darker, but compared to my body, it matches just fine. That is normally happens with me just because my neck is so much lighter than the rest of my body, but I definitely prefer applying it with a sponge. I know a lot of people like applying it with a brush as far as like the reviews that I've seen. For it being a matte foundation, it definitely feels matte. It definitely feels nice and smooth, but it definitely still has a natural glow about it that it doesn't make the face look flat. I did notice with a brush it did start to pull up some of the dead skin, but that's why I don't really apply my foundation with a brush, just because when you have dry skin that tends to happen. It is definitely buildable, but I would definitely say it is a true like medium coverage foundation. But it definitely is buildable to quite, I would say almost full coverage, but I actually prefer the kind of coverage that this gives. I don't like something to be super full coverage. So far I really like it. It doesn't feel heavy, it actually feels like there's nothing on, so that's always a plus. But now for concealer, since this is a matte foundation, I am going to go in with my NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer. This is my favorite, especially if you have dry skin. Okay, so blending out the concealer, it was pretty easy. I didn't have any problem with it like taking the foundation off as I blended the concealer, which sometimes can happen with matte foundations on my skin. But I will say around my mouth area it does look a little bit cakey, and I think that's just because of the matte finish, and my skin is not used to a matte finish. But with that being said, I wouldn't put the foundation around my mouth, or I wouldn't put the concealer around my mouth. I would leave one of them out so that way it was a thinner layer and didn't cake up. I think it actually looks pretty flawless. I'm now going to try the e.l.f. HD Under Eye Setting Powder. I actually used to use this a long time ago, but I haven't used it in a long time. It's such a tiny little container too, so you don't get too much in here. But if you're just using it under the eyes, then you're not using very much anyways. Make sure to blend out any creases on my concealer, which with this foundation underneath, it actually isn't really creasing, so that's always cool. I'm just gonna go in with a little bit of that powder. I like this powder because it's translucent, but it also has a little bit, it looks almost like there's sparkle in it, but it really doesn't translate onto the face. And it's super finely milled, so it doesn't cake up. It just fills in and blurs any lines. It's really nice. And also, we're gonna use some cream contour and cream blush. This is the shade Amber in the Fenty Beauty Matchsticks. So I am just going to use this. It's a really awesome cool tone. So we are going to see how this blends and how it works. So I'm going to use just my beauty blender, or not a beauty blender, but just a damp sponge rather, but I'm just going to blend this out. Wow. That was so easy to blend. Wow. I'm gonna add a little more. They're very natural, which I actually like, because sometimes you can go a little overboard with cream contour, but I feel like these make it impossible. They're just the right amount of pigmentation that you can go really natural, or you can build it up for a more sculpted look. And I was really concerned that that color was going to be too dark for my skin tone, but it's perfect. And they look so pretty, oh my goodness. So I am like in love with this. The Matchstick in Almond. It looks so good. And blending it out, it didn't like take off any of the foundation. It's buildable. It doesn't look cakey if you add a couple layers of it. I'm obsessed with it. Okay, so now I have a cream blush to try. This is in Ridic. Like ridiculous, but Ridic. Okay. This is also a matchstick. This one is a beautiful bright orange. I'm so excited. But it has nice gold shimmers in it. It's going to go really well with our eye makeup, because they're all pretty warm. And again, I'm going to use a sponge to blend it. That is so pretty. Oh my goodness. And like, one thing that I was scared of is that the glitter on here looks chunky, but on the face it doesn't. Oh my goodness. And it gets worrisome because when applying them, they feel pretty dry. Like, they don't feel very creamy, like as in, like they're creamy, but they're not like a true cream. I don't even know how to describe it, but putting it on the skin almost feels like it's not gonna blend out, is kind of what I'm talking about. They don't get like those weird spots where like you apply them and it's like heavy in that one spot and then shears out. It just blends evenly. Oh my goodness. These are probably the best cream, like contour blush stuff I have ever tried. Like, they are Ridic, just like the blush says. Another cool thing is that they stick together. They're like magnetic, so you can keep them all together and display them beautifully. They have beautiful, beautiful packaging. Now, the highlighter that I got is actually a cool tone. It is called Confetti, and this one is a shimmer skin stick as well. Okay, so I am gonna apply a little bit of this. I know it is cool toned, but I mean, look at that. We'll just add some gold on top of it. I just really was too eager to see what it looked like, so. But again, with like me worrying about this being like chunky and glittery, it's not. Like, I'm so surprised. Okay, so I am gonna add a little bit of gold on top of this highlighter because it is clashing just a little bit. I'm gonna use the Sleek Solstice palette, and I'm gonna use this shade here. I'm just gonna see how highlighters layer on top of it as well. But like, the highlight though. Okay, so now that we're done with the face, I'm gonna move on to my lower lash line. So I'm gonna go back into the Yes Please palette. Let's see. I'm gonna use the Real Techniques smudge brush. So it is the wider little smudge brush, you get it. And I'm gonna take this color here, which is called Note to Self, and I'm gonna smudge that all underneath the lower lash line. Now taking the e.l.f. eyeliner brush, which is this little flat guy, and I'm gonna go in with French Kiss, which is the darkest color in the palette, and I'm gonna put this right up at the lash line. Then taking that smudger brush again and Note to Self and just blending. I'm going to take Butter Cake, which is this light shimmery. It's like the lightest shimmery color in the palette, and put this on my inner corner. It is such a pretty yellow gold. And I'm just using the Real Techniques Precision Smudge Brush to do this. Now for lips, I'm going to do a nude. I have two lip products here to try. I have the Maybelline Superstay Matte Ink in Loyalist, and I have heard good things about these. So let's apply it, shall we? I'm a little worried about this formula, but I love the color of it. So we'll see if it dries. It feels a little like cakey, but I'm gonna let this dry for a minute. So I'm not sure how I'm gonna like the formula of these matte inks, just because if you can see, they're like really kind of cakey around here. And they like, I don't know. But I am going to put a lip gloss on top, and it is the Maybelline Vivid Hot Lacquer, and this is in the shade Tease. It's very pigmented. Oh, but it's so comfortable and creamy. It's a really pretty nude. I'm excited. I don't like the formula of those matte inks, but this color combo is really pretty, and I'm hoping that like having this lacquer on helps a little bit. I don't know, I think it's just because they're so pigmented and they're a little bit thicker. I do really like the lacquer though. That felt super creamy and super comfortable. I mean, it still feels comfortable, but the matte ink underneath is a little weird and cakey. But that is it for this video. I am super, super happy with pretty much everything that I tried today. I know this wasn't like a full face of first impressions, but there was a lot of makeup to be tried. So I don't know about you, but I'm digging the complexion. I think that's one of my favorite parts apart from this eyeshadow palette. I really think Colourpop did an amazing, amazing job with this palette. But that is all for this video. So if you enjoyed it, go ahead and give it a thumbs up, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye.